What's up, guys? Justin here, aka M here at 25. We're back for round 2 of our Jersey City locals, and right now we are playing against Crusadia Guard Dragon build. Another one, yes, another one. In all honesty, this deck has. I'm glad I got to play against it again, just so I can get a better idea of how to react. So, not gonna lie, Duel 1 is very straightforward. I get bodied really hard. It's like in the end of the turn, he sends up a full 4-board negate, and I honestly thought I had plays out, but because of my reliance on my opponent telling me what their cards do, and instead of me reading what the cards do, I ended up misplaying a lot. Maybe I had it out. I can't really remember. It's been a day since I recorded this, and it's not really fresh in my mind. And in all honesty, it was just hard. But maybe if I had just spent the time to read the card myself instead of relying on my opponent, I maybe could have gotten this game, but I don't know. So you see that he's doing the standard air quote Crusadia play, making sure he has the 4 different names for Saryuja, because in that case it doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt to double check your opponent, because sometimes they think they're right, but I've had it happen multiple times. They're like, oh, I'll link 3 monsters and I'll get the draw 4 effect. Like, nah, dude. So always double check, but don't be a douche about it. That's all I gotta say about that. So he's using the guard dragons to extend his play as far as he can. He's continuing to grow his board. There's the first negation, which is the hot red dragon Archfiend Bane. You would think with only that one card, like, oh yeah, I should be okay. Nope. He's going further in. He's digging in deeper. I think it's another Saryuja. That's only it has to be another Saryuja. That's why he could do that. Gets Galaxy Soldier, ditches his card to add another Galaxy Soldier to his hand. And honestly, if he said he's going back in, I'm like, I'm not gonna touch it unless you have to draw. So one of those things. That's another personal Yu-Gi-Oh player preference. As you get more experienced, you don't really have to cut unless they're drawing. He summons a Savage Dragon with 4 negates, thanks to Saryuja. That's 2 negations on board. Adding Levineer from his deck to his hand. Yeah, this is a very hard play altogether. I really can't say much about this just because I don't know much about the Crusadia deck myself, and it's just the plays he's doing are so fast that it's hard to read. I do have one gripe about this whole duel, and this is more like in hindsight. I don't like the way he set up his graveyard, and the way he set up his deck. Like, he put his deck in the graveyard zone, his graveyard further up, and his banish zone is just everywhere. And it's like, dude, I need to know where you're going here, because it's getting kind of nuts. I can't keep track. And there is the 3rd negate and 4th negate with Hope Harbinger Dragon and the Sphere mode. So I'm double checking, what does this do? What does this do? Even though I know what they do, I'm asking my opponent what they do. And this is where, again, don't ask, read. Use your English skills to read the words if you can, when you can. And he uses Sphere to bounce his red MD to get Goliath. Against most other decks, that would be clincher. But against a Dino deck, it honestly isn't bad. If I could get UCT out by any means, and I could somehow get past through all those negates, it would have been a good clear. Yeah, so I'm doing double Fossil Dig, trying to bait out stuff. Uses Bane effect to negate it. He's debating on it, why would he do that? In all honesty, if you have that many negates, you might as well just use them. That's just kind of my point. There's not much you can do. There's not much I could do here, and maybe I'm not sure what else I had in my hand to help me out here, but I'm pretty sure I scooped it up because I was relying on Oviraptor, and I was just confirming with my opponent, dude, be clear with what you're saying, because he was telling me these cards do certain things on the field but not in the grave. This does things on the grave but not in the field, and then he ended up doing the opposite of what he said, and it's that messed me up. But again, that's my own fault. So now we're siding in for game 2. I am teching in my 3 broken line because again that card was amazing. It's gonna do so much work in this tournament. And I'm siding in 3 Called by the Grave just because in this deck I saw him reaching and digging into this graveyard to get more bodies on the field to extend his board even further. And, you know, in all honesty, I thought that was probably my best case because Lancia, I don't know. I'm not really particularly powerful with Lancia, so that's probably why I didn't side it in too much, which is giving me more reason to side it out. But I don't know. It's just player preference. Side decking is always player preference. So we're going into game 2. My opponent is proceeding to power shuffle. This I believe is because in his deck it looked pretty big. I thought it was a 60 count. So in the eyes of most duelists, the power shuffle is to increase your chances of not having cards stick to make sure you get to avoid getting garnets. But in hindsight, like when you when you immediately give your deck to your opponent, all that work just goes out the window because if they power shuffle it too, everything is now messed up again. If they even shuffle it weird, it's messed up. And either way, that's a player preference. I just kind of don't see the rationale anymore as I've grown to play the game. I only do power shuffling if I like did a deck profile, just because like that's really sorted. So that's my only way to break it. Beyond that point, I just kind of like shuffle it up if it's if I've been using it to play. So going first, yes, I decided to go first just because after that board, I'm like, I'm not suffering. But my hand was pretty weak in my own opinion, so I decided to set 2 and activate Lost World and guess what those set 2 cards are? Broken Line. Both of them in the extra monster zone, just in case, because it comes in clutch, which you will see as the duel progresses. So one of my opponents asked me, like, why did you activate Lost World without a Dino? Simply because without it, I would have gotten gamed pretty soon. So my opponent just set 1 pass. I drew. I passed. We are both like just slow playing at this point. He's activating Melody, paying cost, then an Ash, just so I don't want him to plus too much. Now, the reason the 500 matters is because it adds up pretty fast. Like literally 3 attacks, which could be exactly game, is now 1500 short, which can be detrimental to a game. So here he's doing the Crusadia play. Eclipse Wyvern is out. Not Eclipse Wyvern. Dragon. Something Buster. I'm not good at these names, guys. Don't grill me in the comment section. I'm new. I'm bad. I'm bad at this. So he's proceeding to go into attacking me for 19, but then I inform him you're only doing 14 because of, guess what? Lost World. So that leaves me at 66. And that's the first 500 that will save. That's the first stack of 500 life points that I got to save. So now on my turn, I decided to pass because I can't do jack nothing because I'm not drawing any monsters. So it's crazy. So he goes into another Crusadia monster, drops Crusadia Draco, proceeds to look at his board and special summons BLS. And this is where, see right there, if you can see, like his graveyard and banish are on top of each other, and that, in any other playstyle, that would have like got him a DL, because that's pretty bad. He proceeds to activate BLS effect, which happens to be in the same column as a Broken Line, which ends up saving me because I negate and destroy it, so yay, no banishing there. Summons Red MD by banishing another dragon, and honestly, now you can see his graveyard and banish zone. I don't even know where it is, so I'm just like, alright, please, just tell me what's going on. I don't even know. So summons Crusadia Draco. Proceeding to link into a link 4, which will be Boral Sword Dragon. And this is where he's going to try attempt for game. And I had to read Boral Sword just because he's in Broken Line zone. So I have to double check. He's summoning Leveneer. I only take 100 because of the 500 decrease. I take 25 because of the decrease. And he's activating effect. I negate and destroy Boral Sword's effect because it does not target, and Boral Sword only negates attacks. This is a card effect. So yay, I live. So I get to live by the skin of my teeth. So he attacks for 25 because I'm not gonna lie, with that 500 I would have been gamed. So I am at 1500. Let that sink in. I am at 1500 to his 8000. I should lose the next turn, but luckily I had a play here. So in my hand, I'm searching, looking through my plays, and thinking of what I can do. I'm looking at my opponent's board. He said that card hasn't done anything with it, and one card in his hand, which is probably another extending piece that he can't use yet. So I decided to risk it for the biscuit, and I'm just rereading all the cards, making sure none of them have a graveyard effect, because that can screw you over. If they have a graveyard effect, they can screw me over in this deck, and I do not want to be reckless anymore after my first duel with this guy. So I summon my Petite Pterodon, my baby dinosaur, to the field, which gives him a token. This is crucial because this is the one play that ends up getting me over him. So I attack into the token using Lost World's effect to negate the destruction, to send a baby Stegosaurus to special summon an Oviraptor. Oviraptor effect, chain link 1. Lost World's already been used, so I can't even do that. So I send, I believe I'm adding, what did I do here? I have to wait for the play to happen now to remember. I'm adding Mist to hand. Okay, so I'm adding Mist to hand, and I'm going to attack over the Draco because it's at 1500, because Lost World decreases its attack and defense by 500. So I just get over it. But I'm still just thinking. I'm a little ahead here. So attack, get over it. He's like, it's a 2000. Like, no, it's a 15. Bye. So entering main phase 2, I eat my Petite Pterodon to get baby Stegosaurus. Petite Pterodon's effect activates to get me. I was debating here for quite a while because I was, do I need to extend my board? Do I need more protection? Do I need to get a Pancratops? In the end, I was trying to get a Pancratops on the field or in my hand some way or another. And I was debating, do I want on the field? I could easily make a Link 2, but that wouldn't do anything. So I decided to go for a Stegosaur to either make a Link 3 or rank 4, but I decided to go for the Link 4 play after adding, the Link 3 play after adding up Pancratops to my hand, because at this point I will be more in, I'll be more in control. So I'm going to end up linking away my 3 monsters after debating for quite a long time if I should use unicorn. If I shoot Nightmare Phoenix to pop the back row. In hindsight, I should have, but in the end, I didn't know. If he hadn't activated it now, it wasn't really anything I was scared of. But again, new meta. You have to learn some of the cards that are going to be set against you. So I'm linking away for 3 for Deco Talker. Summon Pancratops. Use Pancratops effect now to pop the back row, and then he he fuses away. This is where I also had a question about a ruling. You could, because if I remember correctly, if you're going to target monsters, you have to use the Lost World token. But Super Poly was ruled into my opponent's favor, where it just uses 2 monsters. So I guess that doesn't matter. It doesn't target. So I just went with it. If the judge said so, I'm just gonna go with it. That's how usually Yu-Gi-Oh works. You can't really in the midst of a duel. You can't really fight rulings. You just gotta go, especially in the locals matches where you just kind of learn how to adapt. In a regional, national level, that might matter more. So I'm continuing my main phase 2 by special summoning UCT to give me more of protection. And now I'm just reading Stegosaur to make sure that I get this effect, which is when it was sent to the graveyard, you can special summon at the end phase another Dino Wrestler from your graveyard, which was Pancratops. So now I am ahead. Even though my opponent has a stronger monster, I'm ahead with beefier monsters and protection, as I drop Miscellaneous Saurus as he's trying to destroy my dinosaurs. Now I am protected. I also can interrupt, which I will do now because I see him looking at his extra deck, and I just want to flip everything face down. So I destroyed Dogeron, which I had in my hand to set everything, and this is where I proceed to go to game because, again, placement of your cards matters in dinosaurs, and this is where it's going to probably kick me in the butt later in Duel 3. But it's one of the things you learn. I'm activating Oviraptor's effect. I added Quatless, activating Misk effect to banish, adding and putting those 5 banished dinos back into my deck. Now I have a full field with interruption to negation, interruption, and 2 level 4 monsters, which can be linked or exceeded. I'm going to end up linking away because I want to do damage, because now he has 2 monsters with 0 defense. So I do 35, 35, and I attack to send for 1,000, which is exactly 8,000 for game. And that was Duel 2. That's insanity. I went from 1,500 life points. Let me just reiterate. I came back from 1,500 life points with my opponent having 8,000. I OTK'd him one turn. It took 2 turns, but literally that one play with my Petite Pterodon sent me over the edge to gain the momentum I needed. And that's just how dinos work. Like, you can spend a lot of time to set up a board, but if you can't stop me, or if you can't really prevent me from doing anything, like in multiple ways, it's not going to be impossible for me to come back, especially if I can grind it out, which this deck can do, because literally, if I had not had Lost World activated on the field, I would have lost so many more life points. So, in this case, I decided not to side. I thought my deck was pretty solid. There was not much else I could do. The variation I had was good going first or second, especially with Broken Line and Called by the Grave. So, I decided to let it ride. So I believe my opponent goes first, and we start the duel. And this is where I kind of realized the game is now in my favor, because he just passes. Nothing. So I'm like, okay, cool. This is where the doors are open for me. I can set myself ahead, and time is getting close, because we're at, right now the video says 16 minutes, double that, it's 32. We have like 8 minutes left in the round, and I have to do damage. I have to do damage to get ahead. So I activate Fossil to get Oviraptor, normal summon Oviraptor, to send Giant Rex to grave, because I have Mist, so I wasn't afraid of getting negated. So I just let it ride, activate Mist in hand, because I was debating a lot on how to extend my board, and there were a lot of options, but I was like, let's just go for it. So I banish Miscellaneous Saurosaurs, and I'm reading it to him to make sure he understands, because he asked, what does it do? Summon Giant Rex, get a Petite Pterodon. I believe I have a double evolution pill in my hand. No, I overlay first into Logi to Dolga, I guess, because I was creating monster effects, which is fair. Then I activate my double evolution pill, banishing from my hand an Ash Blossom and another dinosaur, which I think was an Aolo, because Aolo is like the worst Garnet, is the only Garnet I have in my deck that I don't want to see. Anyway, so now I am on board. I do 63 damage, release my opponent at 17. During the end phase, since Petit was summoned through Misk, I special summon Petit Pangachops, and that's pretty much game for my opponent. There's nothing else he can really do. Unless he can Sphere Mode me, there's not much else he can do. And we scoop it up.